Welcome back to the Spread Pick Show with Mike and Andrew, week number 15. It's the fantasy football playoffs. Good luck to all those in the fantasy
Yeah,
playoffs. Me and you did not make it in our league, but I think you made it in your other leagues, and so did I. So we got
I
something to
did.
look forward to. Yes, so we're doing all right. Just for some reason, in the most non-competitive league that we're in, probably me and you don't make it. It's very odd how fantasy works, but that's the way it is. All right,
Stinks.
it does stink. So how you doing today, buddy? Good day? Bad day?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Yeah, not bad.
There's
Yeah, sure.
actually a big like COVID thing going on in
Yeah,
my
sh-
school
I
right now.
oh, in your school. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. It's
a
funny.
lot of like close contact and stuff.
I made a delivery right next to your school today. Luckily, I didn't see anybody because maybe I could have contracted it. But yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the COVID thing. Like this video, of course, is being recorded on a Wednesday night, and
Right.
there's new stuff coming out every day at this point, and some of the stuff we're gonna get screwed with. It's a shame because by the time we're done recording, oh, Dak Prescott might be out with COVID, and it changes everything.
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna know, so it's kind of crappy that we can't make these.
It stinks.
Yeah, so we'll try our best though. We'll do with what we know right now, and we'll see how it goes. Let's go over week 14, the previous week, real quickly. Your boy had a good week, I will say. We got back. Oh, your brother's calling me for some reason. That should I answer it or no? You know what? We're gonna ignore him. We'll call him back later.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Pittsburgh at Minnesota. This game was like I was concerned because like I felt great. It was like 28-0. We both took Minnesota. We were feeling good,
Oh
and then
my
they had
God.
that awesome comeback, and Muth had the ball knocked away by Harrison Smith at the end. But we got the win there. It's all that matters. This game probably was my least favorite game all year in terms of the spread pick show. Baltimore at Cleveland. Cleveland was a -2.5, Andrew. And you know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland was up
I'm
20.
completely aware.
I think Cleveland was up 24-7, and Tyler Huntley's in. I'm feeling great. I got the win, right? And then they come back. They made it 24-22. You covered by half a point. So I put a little graphic Mickey Mouse win next to the Ravens. So
Okay,
I,
that's
I'm,
it's
I'm going to
fair. I
say
can't
that.
even
Yeah.
argue with it.
I think I picked the right side of that game, but then sometimes crap like this happens, and it sucks. But anyway, Dallas at Washington. I took Dallas. You took Washington. Wow. But Washington almost came back, so I'll give you some credit for that. They almost Dak Prescott almost threw a game-losing pick six there for that team. Las Vegas at KC. Tried to warn you, buddy. I really tried to warn you, but KC, I mean, they were on that ass the entire game,
Yeah.
so it's a shame. Seattle at Houston. Game kind of went the way I expected it to. I took Seattle. It was close in like the first three quarters, but of course they pulled away in the fourth quarter. You took Houston and Davis Mills over there. Um, by the way, is Davis Mills the second best rookie quarterback this year? Because that's like a real question people are asking.
Huh. Um. No.
No, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I
I
think
mean, honestly, like in the situation that he's in, I mean, he's not really playing
sure.
bad, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I actually just realized I
But
didn't have the
no.
gallery view on. My bad. I screwed up the first 5 minutes of the video. Anyway, let's proceed. Jacksonville at Tennessee. I don't know why I picked the Jaguars still. Spoiler alert, I might pick them again this week. You took Tennessee though, got the win. You lost a lot of games in a row here, buddy. My goodness.
I did.
New Orleans at the Jets. I took the Saints. It was a close game through like the first 55 minutes, and the Saints had like two BS touchdowns at the end. I got the win there. Atlanta, Carolina. I took Atlanta. Carolina almost made a late push, but you took Carolina there. I got the win with the Falcons. Detroit at Denver. Yeah, the game did not go the way I expected it to. It was 10-7 at halftime. I was feeling good about that, but then the Broncos in the second half just obliterated them. And I feel like a lot of it was like rallying behind the Demaryius Thomas news, and I don't think we knew about that at the time of the recording. So, I
No, we
mean, that
didn't.
was, of course, yeah, very unfortunate there for Denver and all that. And of course, feel bad for his family, but that was a terrible situation. The Giants at the Chargers. That game did not go well for the Giants. I took the Chargers. You took the Giants. I appreciate you for that one. San Fran.
Close backdoor cover. Close
Was it?
backdoor
Was
cover.
it? Actually, yes,
Yeah,
it was.
I
You're
think
right.
Glennon threw a pick, right?
He
It's a,
did.
to lose the game in the red
Yeah,
zone.
the Giants got the onside kick when the game was clearly over, and then he threw a ball behind
Yeah,
Shepard, and Shepard
close.
stepped up. Yeah, so I kind of got lucky at the end there. Well, not lucky. I don't know. Anyway, spread picture weird. San Francisco at Cincinnati. This one pissed me off. San Fran was a -1.5. We both took the Bengals. It was fun because like the Bengals were down 2 touchdowns. It was like 27-13. They came back, got the overtime overtime. We're hoping they win by a field goal. Was not the outcome, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it sucks because what's his name? Jesse Bates had a pick six in that game, like late in the fourth quarter. Like the Bengals should have won by 6, but the guy dropped the pick six, and we know what happened there. George Kittle with an awesome game for them. Next, Buffalo at Tampa Bay. Both took Tampa Bay. We kind of got lucky there because that went to overtime. And Brashad Perriman, of all people, with the long, like 60-yard touchdown to win that one. The Bucs won by 4, I believe. We got the win there, luckily. Chicago at Green Bay. I took Green Bay. I was sweating that one out in the first half. I'll tell you what, we were texting each other back and forth, but luckily the Packers, pulled away late in that game.
There were so many. Like I think there was a recovered onside kick by the Bears or something, or like some type of kick where the Bears caught it and ran to the end zone, but like it didn't count because you're not allowed to pick it up and run. That should have covered. And then there was a fumble 6 that got taken back, and that should have covered or something like that. I should have covered that game. That was way too many points.
The onside kick one was interesting because I didn't know about that rule. I figured you could recover it and run it back, but that was not the case. So
I felt like I've seen that before.
Yeah, I thought maybe they changed the rule. I don't know. That's weird. Monday Night Football was a good game. Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona was a -2.5. And I took Arizona. The interception in the end zone really screwed Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. But the Rams played well the entire game, really. You got the win there to close it out. Anyway, let's get into on the week. I mean, what was our records on the week? You went 5-11 or something. Your record was not good. I got a lot of wins last week, so things went pretty well. So now I'm up by 2 games on the season. I'm 102, 104, and 2. You're 100, 106, and 2. And I was 2-0 on favorite bets, and you were 0-2. Do better. You picked the Jets and the Lions for favorite bets. You did it to yourself.
No, did I really?
I don't even feel bad for you at this point. All right, week number 15. Let's get into it. Kansas City is at the Los Angeles Chargers, a big game for playoff seeding and the division, of course. KC is a -3 right now on the road. The Chargers, I saw, are without their left tackle, Rashawn Slater. Derwin James and Austin Eckler are questionable for this game. So anyway, we're both going to go with the Chiefs in this matchup either way.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of one of those games, like one of these trap games. But I am going to go with Kansas City. I do think this is a big running game for Kansas City because like the Chargers are one of the worst defenses in terms of like rushing yards per game, and they're one of the best in terms of passing yards allowed per game, right? So I think that Pat Mahomes is not going to throw the ball a lot early. Obviously, that might change if the Chargers get out to an early lead and the run's not working anymore. Then you're going to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs throw a lot. But I think this game is close, and I think this spread is nice. And I could see the Chargers outright winning this game because the Chargers have played pretty good football lately, to be honest with you. But the Chiefs have just been unreal lately. They were, 2-4 or 3-4. Now they're on a 6-game winning streak. They're 9-4. They're right back where they left off last year. I can't see a scenario where they just fall off the face of the earth and don't actually play a decent offensive game. So I'm going to take them. I hope it is like a shootout. I think the over-under is 52. I could see that hitting over. But I could also see it, being like a sneaky defensive game because the Chiefs have played very well on defense. And like I said, the Chargers are very good against the pass. So who knows if the Chiefs are going to be able to run the ball. It's going to be an interesting game. It's definitely a good game to this is a Thursday game. It's definitely a good game to start the week. I am going to go with Kansas City -3, though.
Yeah, there was that thing in the past about the Chiefs can't cover spreads, but those were like big spreads, like 8 points, 9 points, 10 points. This is only 3 points. And I think the Chiefs are right now maybe with the Buccaneers are like the best team in the NFL at this moment. I started to buy in last week, and I guess you're a week late, Andrew, so I feel bad. But it feels like now you're back in on the Chiefs, and I think we're making the right choice here. I mean, the Chargers, I don't know. I mean, they have some injuries, of course, and I think the Chiefs might be without Chris Jones, which would hurt them, obviously. But the way the Chiefs can run the ball against this team, I mean, I don't fear the Chargers' run defense at all. They don't tackle well, as we know. So I'm sure Patrick Mahomes will have a field day against this team. So I don't know. It should be high scoring. It is 52.5. You're right. So it should be high scoring, but I just don't see the Chiefs offense being stopped in this matchup, probably in a good weather game at Los Angeles. And I think they'll keep rolling. And their defense, of course, has been creating so many turnovers lately. And I don't
Yep.
think that'll stop here. So I will just go with the Chiefs in a high scoring game, and hopefully they get the 3-point victory or more. On to, I think this is Saturday. We have 2 Saturday games here
Two
coming up.
Saturdays. Yep.
Yeah. It'll be the Las Vegas Raiders at the Cleveland Browns. Las Vegas is a -1.5. Now I said COVID Browns because the Browns literally they have like 17 or 18 guys on the COVID list. Kevin
Right.
Stefanski, head coach, is on the COVID list. They have a lot of issues going on. Baker Mayfield's out as well. So, yeah, we don't know who's playing for the Browns right now. But despite that, I'm still picking the Browns, and you're going with the Raiders. But the funny part is I think the Browns opened up as 6.5-point favorites, and now it's already in favor of Las Vegas.
Wow.
So a lot has changed here since the COVID news.
To be completely honest with you, I was like going into this game, like in the back of my head, because I saw the commercial on TV. I saw this was the matchup. I was like, all right, I think Las Vegas is probably going to be like 2.5, 3.5 point favorites. I don't think the drop off between Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum is like that dramatic this year, because Baker Mayfield like hasn't been that great, but it is only 1.5 points, and I can see the Raiders winning this game with all the COVID problems. I mean, the Browns aren't going to be practicing right all week long. They have to switch around personnel because a lot of their coaches are going to be out. There's just a lot of stuff going on with the Browns right now. And maybe I'm right. Maybe Case Keenum is serviceable and they win this game by like a field goal. But I'm going to take Las Vegas just because I don't know if more spreads as the week goes on. You know, like once COVID hits somewhere, you got to figure that there's going to be some more players that hit that COVID list, maybe some more significant players. I don't want to have to worry about the Browns. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just going to take the Raiders because I don't think there's a COVID outbreak going on with them right now. And I feel like I know what I'm going to get with them. So I am going to take the Raiders. Like I said, if it was higher, probably would have gone with the Browns, but 1.5, I feel good about the Raiders.
No, I get it. I completely do. You know, I like to back the Browns a lot, even though it
Yeah.
screwed me last week in a very bad situation. But in your favor, I think Darren Waller might come back. That would definitely help you out a lot. But I know Cleveland has the personnel to kind of cover him. We know how athletic Owusu Koromoa is, the rookie out of Notre Dame. So I feel like they'll be a good team to cover an athletic tight end like a Darren Waller. But I mentioned this last week now. It's getting even worse. The Raiders have lost 5 of their last 6 games now since the Henry Ruggs news. And that team has not looked right whatsoever. And I think the biggest, matchup advantage in this game is Cleveland's defensive line versus their offensive line of the Raiders. And I just think Derek Carr is going to have a rough day. And I think this was a matchup last year. It was a very windy game. And I think Cleveland won like a very low scoring, boring game, like 9-6, but it was terrible weather. And remember, last time the Browns had this COVID outbreak stuff, it was the game in the playoffs against Pittsburgh, and they won that game. So, I mean, they've
I
been
do
here
remember that,
before.
yeah.
And Stefanski was out that game, of course, as we know. I think he was calling the game from his basement, maybe. I forget. It was a weird circumstance. So, I think Cleveland can overcome this. And as you mentioned, Keenum versus Mayfield, it's not a significant drop-off. My worry is that Case Keenum's arm is kind of shot at this point in his career, because I remember that one time Keenum played on Thursday. It was the Dearness Johnson game when they played the Broncos. And Keenum had a deep throw to Odell, who had his man beat by 10 yards, and just underthrew him, and the safety almost picked it off. Like, that was a concerning throw for me. So I'm like, does this guy have arm strength anymore? I don't know, but it might not matter. I know Cleveland is heavily not injured, but there's a lot of guys out. But that team right now is in such a better spot than the Raiders. It doesn't bother me if some of the starters are out. I think they'll overcome it. And some of these guys still have a chance to pass the protocol by Saturday. So it's not like the entire team's going to be out. I'm hoping that, hopefully Mayfield can play and some other important pieces to this team. But even if they don't, I still think the Browns have a chance to win. So I'll take them now as underdogs as a +1.5 there. And you'll take the Raiders. Next week, I was not surprised at all you picked this team. New England's at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a -2.5. This is an awesome game because not only is it like the Saturday night game and like a primetime game, but these are two
It's a
teams.
really good game.
They're two teams that are very similarly built, in my opinion. Like, awesome run games, awesome offensive lines, quarterbacks that don't have to do too much and that are in great situations, really good defenses, of course, that create turnovers. It's honestly an awesome game. And I think that, both of us are going to take the Colts, actually. So are we kind of disrespecting New England here, or are we making the right choice?
Oh, no, not at all. And I'm going to make a little reasoning for this. So the Colts on their schedule have played a ton of playoff teams this year. Most recently, I guess if you count the Bills at this point, which 3 weeks ago when the Colts played the Bills, like they were a lot more of a playoff team than they are right now. But I mean, they played the Bills, the Bucks, the Titans twice, the 49ers, the
Rams.
Rams. They've played so many, the Ravens, they played so many like great teams. And these games have been like tight. Like the only game they really got crushed in, I think, was one of the Titan games. The rest of them were within like a possession, and in some cases they've like crushed these teams, like the Bills as an example. I don't think the Patriots will beat the Colts. I can't see it. I think this is the team that ruins the Patriots winning streak. And I really do believe in this Colts team. I think they're better than their record shows. They're in the playoffs right now, technically. And I just think they've had a very tough schedule. And I think 7-6 is just really not what they are. Again, they've played a lot of these really, really good teams close. They had that game against the Ravens that they should have won. They blew that lead. They've had so many unlucky games. I think they're a lot better than their record shows. I think people are starting to notice that too, and I think people are really high on the Patriots right now. The fact that we're getting a field goal in this game, where a field goal can cover this, I absolutely love this. Colts at home, prime time. I'll take Carson Wentz against Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Yeah, my concern, of course, was Belichick coming off a bye, but I'm not going to act like Frank Reich's not a good coach either, because he is. But of course, Belichick's going to be like that
Right.
guy. We know who Belichick is, and that the Patriots are 6-0 on the road, so that kind of influenced the decision. But I just said before, I think these teams are so evenly matched, and I want to go with the home team that I think needs the win more than the Patriots do. The Patriots are on like a 7-game win streak right now, which is incredible. But the Colts are a team that's like barely in like, I think they're in like the 6th seed right now. So like they need these wins, of
Yeah.
course. And I guess if they win out, they have a chance at the division. I'm not sure about that, but they have a chance maybe. I forget. Do they play the Titans again the rest of the year? Do you know off the top of
Nah,
your
they
head?
got swept.
Yeah, they lost in overtime that one game. That was rough. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Colts, of course, have a scenario where they need to win games. The Patriots right now are the 1 seed, so I don't see them finishing that way. I still think the Chiefs today are going to be the 1 seed by the time the season's over. I think the Patriots have had a nice run, and I respect what they're doing, but this is a game where I just think the Colts get up early, and this will be one of those games where Mac Jones has to play from behind, and I want to see what he can do. And until we see him do it, I'm just going to pick the Colts in this situation. So hopefully they get off to a lead. I feel like the first team that scores a touchdown might win this game, which might be pretty crappy analysis, but that's the way I look at this game, honestly, because these are teams that when they play from ahead, it's easy for them. So I'll go with the Colts in this one. Don't feel great about it. It could go either way, obviously, but there have been plenty of great matchups with these teams in the past, and hopefully the Wentz versus Mac Jones can kind of be like the Brady versus Peyton Manning matchups back in the day, although I doubt it, but we'll see. On to
I'm
Sunday
tempted
now.
to I'm tempted to check the over under in this game because I feel like the under could hit. Like I feel like these defenses could play really well in this game. I think the Colts have forced a turnover in every single game so far this season. Which I mean, if they
Mm.
can continue that streak, like, that's an unbelievable streak.
And the
Um,
Patriots are a tough team to do it against. I will say that.
yeah, the
Yeah.
over under is 45. See that's a tempting over too. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tight game. And the Colts, by the way, bringing up your point that said they're in kind of a must-win situation. They play another primetime game next Saturday against the Cardinals on the road, so
Ooh.
they need to start winning these games, right? So
Mhm.
they need to get these wins in. I think they're going to do it, Mike. I think they're going to do it. Maybe not by the margin we need them to do it by, but I think they're going to do it.
Well, it's only 2.5. I hope they get it done. All right. We're on the Sunday now. This game might
Yep.
stink, honestly. We have the Carolina Panthers at the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen was seen in a walking boot, but I think he was fine. I'm pretty sure. Like he should play this week, of course. So Buffalo is still a minus 10.5 at home here against Carolina. And we're both taking Buffalo here.
Okay. You were kind of leading into it like you were going to pick
Yeah.
Carolina.
Got to fool the
I have
audience.
insider information. Josh Allen is not in a boot anymore. He was at a Hamilton play without a boot,
Yes.
without
Yes.
anything. He was chilling. So no boot for Josh Allen. I don't know if they have any COVID problems, and I don't know if the Panthers have any COVID problems. I guess we'll see
I
later
just
down the
I
week.
just
But
assume everyone does at this point. That's the way I look at this.
yeah, I guess you have to. The Bills are 7-6 right now, and if this game was early on in the year, coming off like a loss, like the wait, who did the Bills just play?
Buccaneers.
Yeah, okay. Coming off a loss, like a heartbreaking loss like that against the Buccaneers, where they fought until the end, they went into overtime with Tom Brady. They have to be foaming at the mouth,
Two
right? But they are
losses.
7-6. Yeah, yeah, they have. I think they have to be foaming at the mouth, and they're looking at this Carolina Panthers team. This is like a crush spot for Buffalo. I see this game very similar to the way I saw them this game against the when they played the Saints. I just thought it was going to be an absolute crush spot. I thought the Saints were in a very low spot at the time, and they were playing bad football. And it was the same with the Bills, but I thought the Bills were just going to crush them, and I feel like that's going to be the case here. It is minus 10.5. It's a lot of points, but I think we're starting to get points our way now that the Bills are losing a little more. I think 2 weeks ago, this spread maybe would have been like 13.5. So I'm going to take the Bills minus 10.5. Again, they're at home. Bills Mafia is angry. They're going to bring the heat. And I just think very little of the Panthers. I'm not sure if Sam Darnold's going to play. I know he was activated off the IR, right? Or he's eligible to come off the IR.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's playing for them. I don't feel comfortable with really any of them. They're all really just bad quarterbacks at this point. I'm going to take Buffalo. They're really trying to get in the playoffs. I feel like this game means a lot more to them than it does to the Panthers, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, what do the Panthers have to play for right now? I mean, like,
Nothing.
I feel like there's some bad vibes right now. They don't know who their quarterback is, and Matt Rule's job is being questioned by some people. Their OC is gone, Joe Brady. And for Buffalo, they have a handful of these games every year since the Josh Allen era, or really the Josh Allen breakout last year, where they just obliterate bad teams at home. And it
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of like the situation when they played, it was Houston, I believe, right? They played Houston at one point, week 4. They beat them 40-0. I mean, I don't think they'll shut out the Panthers, but like it should be like the Bills score close to 40 points, if not more. And Carolina, I mean, like their offense is terrible. Like they're literally rotating quarterbacks at this point because Cam Newton is just not a capable passer in the NFL. Like Cam Newton can still run the ball, but in terms of passing, Cam Newton's just not that guy anymore, unfortunately. So, we know Buffalo, they do beat up on these bad teams. So I didn't really care what the spread was. If it was under like 13 or 14, I was taking Buffalo. So the fact that we're getting 10.5 here, which I do feel like is some value because as we mentioned, they lost 2 in a row here to New England.
Yeah.
They lost to Tampa. So we're getting some value, I feel like, although the Carolina Panthers are playing like crap. But if the Bills were on a roll, I feel like this might be like, I don't know, 14-point spread, but now we're getting 10.5. So
I said 10, I said 13.5, so we're right around the same area.
Something around there. So I will take the Bills there. So will you, of course. Next, we're on to this could be the game of the year, honestly. We have the Houston Texans. I couldn't do it. No straight face. Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville is on minus 3.5. Now, I try not to hold grudges, and that's what I'm going to do. I hate the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I just feel like they're going to score a lot of points in this game, so I'm taking Jacksonville, and you're going to take Houston.
Yeah, I'm just going to take Houston because I'm not picking them, because they're in the media. I mean, you got Urban Meyer kicking his kicker, calling him I don't want to repeat what he called him. It was a curse word. It's not like a terrible curse word that I can't repeat, but it was a curse word, and he said, make your effing kicks or something like that. It's just a very interesting guy. And I kind of like Urban Meyer to an extent, but I think at this point he's kind of full of himself. He is so reliant on what he's done in the past. Like he's bringing it up so much. Like I know how to win. I used to win all the time, but like he's never done it at the NFL level. You're trying to convince NFL guys that you know how to win, but they look at the stat sheet or the box score, and you're losing by 30 points every single game, and you're 2-11. They might win this game, but honestly, I just have nothing to go off of. And like you said, right, like Davis Mills could be the second best quarterback out of the draft this year, and he's actually playing pretty competent football with the team that he has around him. And Houston at times has shown an ability to score points and compete with teams. You said this is going to be a bad game. You kind of joked about game of the year. It could low-key be like a shootout and like almost like a fun game to watch in a way, because when two bad teams are like this, you never know. You never know what can happen. I don't know who is going to win this game. I don't know what's going to go on. This is the trouble of picking every single spread on the slate. There are just games like this where you just have no clue about. This is one of those games. I've seen Houston perform better more than the Jacksonville Jaguars have. So I'm going to take them here, and hopefully they can do something.
Yeah, I don't have much analysis for a game like this. I mean, I guess both defenses are pretty good at like generating pressure on the quarterback, especially
Yeah,
Houston. Their pass rush is actually kind of good, and we know that the Jacksonville offensive line sucks, but it just feels like one of those games that we're going to see Jacksonville just score like 27, 30 points. The crowd's going to go crazy. And it just feels like, I don't know. I don't like Houston right now, what they have going on. I did kind of like Davis Mills in the pre-draft process, but the guy is not a franchise quarterback, I don't think. I mean, maybe he's back next year. I don't know. But I would think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback, just talent-wise. And I think this is hopefully a game where he
yeah,
can get his
100%.
crap together coming off the terrible 4-interception game. And I don't know. I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is this bad. I just think at some point he's got to turn it around. And, what better to do it against than, one of the worst secondaries in football, if not the worst in the Texans. And we saw Russell Wilson have a great game against them. Tyler Lockett got behind their defense, of course. So
Yep.
I don't know. We'll find out what happens. I mean, Marvin Jones is involved and Laquan Treadwell and sometimes Laviska Shenault. This could be a James Robinson game finally because the game script should be somewhat neutral here or Jacksonville could be ahead. So their offense should be okay. And hopefully that's enough to win this game here by 3.5. Now I could see the Jaguars winning by 3 and it entirely loses me the spread, but
Yeah.
that's, I'm going to play with fire and hope it works out for me there. So I'll
I have
probably
a question.
okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
No, I was
I
going
was
to say
gonna just.
I'll probably come on here next week and hate myself for taking Jacksonville again, but we'll see how that plays out. Sorry.
No, you're good. So you did say before that it's fantasy football like championship week. So I'm in ESPN league where it's like if you play ESPN, I think the default settings is like a 2-week playoff. It's like whoever scores the most points, combined points in 2 weeks, wins the matchup. I don't know if I should start James Robinson. He's like been very, very disappointing, and I know like he's playing this crappy Houston defense, but like I don't know, he has not been getting the carries, and I have Javante over him in the running back spot. I have my running backs right now are Jonathan Taylor, Javante Williams, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I also have Gaskin, but I don't know if Gaskin's going to play. I think he's in the COVID list. I don't know if I should start James Robinson over Javante or Clyde. I have no clue. If anybody wants to help me out in the comments too, I'll read them.
I don't know who Javante plays off the top of my head, but just knowing that James Robinson plays the Texans and Jets back to back, that's probably enough for me to go with James Robinson. I'm just saying.
No, I think I'm pretty sure I can like reset my I don't put in a lineup for 2 straight weeks.
Okay.
So all right, I'll take your word for it. I'll put in my team is like really good, so I can maybe afford a little lackluster performance here and I'll take your word for it. All right, I'll put James Robinson in the lineup.
So you can sound like Urban Meyer. I'm really good, but no, I'll try to like research that more, look at the snap percentages and all that crap later for you. Just remind me. Anyway, all right, on to Tennessee. They're at Pittsburgh here. Tennessee's a -2. I believe Tennessee's coming off the bye. No, am I wrong with that? Maybe?
No, they beat the
they played
Jaguars, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Now I forget.
They
honestly.
had the 4-interception game against your Jaguars.
Yes, correct. I had the Titans defense in fantasy. Speaking of that, so thank you for that. No, all right. So we have the Tennessee Titans -2. True. Yeah. So Tennessee's a -2 here. I love Pittsburgh in this game. I'm going with them, and you're taking Tennessee.
God.
I'm telling you, I'm taking Pittsburgh as a favorite bet. I'm telling you right now. So.
Pittsburgh, I probably would have picked Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's one of those teams that you've just been able to nail all season long. I feel like every time I've gone against you in these Pittsburgh games when it's a close spread, they outright win. Like I just feel like that is so whatever. I'll go with the Titans.
I hate the Steelers too, which is funny, but anyway, yeah.
I just for some reason every time you pick them in a close spread, they win the game, and it's really annoying. Yeah, okay. So I'll pick the Titans here because I do think they can like win this game. And again, I like the spread where I get 3 points, right? If Tennessee wins by 3 points, I get the spread. That works for me here. And I think Tennessee's are like a really good football team. And I know they haven't had Derrick Henry, but they're starting to figure it out a little bit in the run game. And I know last week they played the Jaguars. They didn't really need the run, and their defense got 4 interceptions. So they were kind of just able to do whatever they wanted. But they're 9-4, right? This is a playoff team. They are going to go to the playoffs, and I think they have a lot more to play for. I actually shouldn't say that. Probably the Steelers have a lot more to play for because they're actually fighting for a playoff spot, and the Titans are in. But I feel like the Titans could use a big win to boost their confidence a little bit, and maybe give Derrick Henry that needed time to get healthy for the playoffs instead of having to rush him back because you're losing a few games here and there, and you haven't clinched the playoff spot. So they're still fighting for that 1 seed. Let's not forget about that. So there is still something to play for the Titans. And I think they might pull this one out. But I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers outright winning this game, and it'll probably happen. So
I think the
yeah,
Steelers actually win this game.
yeah.
It just feels like one of those things. Every time we see a game like this during the Mike Tomlin era, and if there's one thing about Mike Tomlin, he's not going below 500. So
Yeah, you're right.
looking at the schedule right now, I think right now the Steelers are what? They're like
6-6-1.
6-1, yeah. So right now they're right at 500. They play Tennessee this week, but then they play the Chiefs next week. Then they play the Browns and they play the Ravens. It's a pretty tough schedule to end the year. So if Mike Tomlin continues the 500 and above record, I think they have to win this game. And another reason I'm picking them is because we know that the Steelers have an amazing pass rush. TJ Watt's questionable with a groin injury. I think he plays as long as he can, obviously. They kind of need him for this game. So we've seen games this year where Ryan Tannehill's sacked like 4 or 5 times. This could be one of those games, hopefully. And the Steelers, I mean, they were so bad against the run last week, but, on the season, their run defense, let me look real quick. Their run defense is 30th. So that's the one concern I have. But if it was Derrick Henry, I probably would lean with the Titans here. But with Deonta Foreman and Hilliard, what the hell is his name? Dontrell Hilliard. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't feel as confident with this running attack here for the Titans. And listen, Tannehill's had some bad games, and I could see this being one of those games, of course. I mean, Julio Jones is back, which helps them, obviously, but he only had like 4 catches for 30 yards last week. So it's not like he's doing too much. So anyway, I like Pittsburgh a lot in this game, which feels like a game they would win. So I'm going to go with them here. And as you said, for some reason, I've been able to pick this team well recently. So hopefully that streak continues. On to the Arizona Cardinals coming off the disappointing loss at the Detroit Lions. Arizona is a -13. I saw DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to be out the rest of the regular season. They hope they get him back for the playoffs, so they won't have their wide receiver 1. But I don't care. I'm taking Arizona, and you're going to take the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I'm taking the Detroit Lions because I could check right now, but I don't think we've gotten word on James Conner yet.
Correct.
And his MRI, which could play huge in this game because I think Chase Edmonds is coming back this week, but I mean, they are not the same team without James Conner. I mean, even when Chase Edmonds was healthy, James Conner was getting all those red zone reps. It was really pushing some of these defenses back against the wall in the red zone. I just think this is to any point. They're one of the best teams against the spread this year. They've covered time and time again against teams they shouldn't have. They've made games close, for that matter, against teams that they shouldn't have. And maybe this is a foaming at the mouth game for the Cardinals. They need to crush somebody because they did lose to their division rival. But I don't really see it that way. I kind of see it as like, hey, look, we're right back on track. Let's go. Let's go just beat this team and we'll go into the next week. I don't really see it as like must win by 30 type of game. So I'm going to take Detroit. They're at home. They're getting 13 points. I don't view Arizona as like the best team in the league despite their record. So I think that Detroit can realistically cover the spread. So I'm going to take them. I think they do get DeAndre Swift back this week as well. I might be wrong about that, but I think at least they'll get Jamal Williams and not be down to their 4th and 5th running back like they were last week. So I'll take Detroit plus 13.
I'm hoping that DeAndre Swift doesn't play because I have that random Chase Reynolds guy who's like the 3rd string running back on that team.
Kind of good.
Yeah, I want him to play, honestly. I want him to start, but I don't know. Anyway, the reason I'm taking the Cardinals is because of what we saw last week. I always say that really good teams bounce back. And look, I think they've earned my respect by now. They're a really good team. They just had unfortunate things happen against the Rams there on Monday. So, they should get not Darrell Henderson, wrong team. But yeah, you mentioned James Conner. And I think the MRI came back like it was nothing serious, but he still hasn't practiced yet. But they also might get their other starting running back. So that's going to help them, of course.
Right.
But Arizona, just looking at their schedule, they have they're 7-0 on the road, right? And they have beaten every team by, I think, 9 points or more. They won week 1, 38-13 on the road. They beat Jacksonville by 12 on the road. They beat the Rams by 17 on the road. They beat the Browns 37-14 on the road. They beat the Niners 31-17 on the road. Won by 10 against Seattle on the road, then won by 11 against the Bears on the road. So this team, for some reason, when they travel away from Arizona and get far away from home, they just blew out teams. And I don't understand why, but I just feel like this might be another one of those scenarios. It seemed like Kyler Murray was pretty healthy, although he limped off the field in the final minute, which I was not a fan of. But even with Colt McCoy, that team was doing pretty well. So I do hope James Conner plays. One of my fantasy seasons probably relies on it, so I hope he plays. But I think as long as he's playing and as long as we get Kyler Murray's like semi-healthy, this Arizona team should be fine. Like I think the Lions, they got their win. That's great, but they went to Denver and got their asses kicked, and now they're probably back to the same old Lions. I mean, I don't know. I just don't really expect much out of this team. And, let's not forget, Arizona has a good defense on the season. I know they had kind of a bad game against the Rams, but the Rams are a lot different than the Detroit Lions, although Matthew Stafford's played for both teams, but it's a different scenario. So obviously Arizona's defense is very respectable. So I'll go with Arizona here to win by 13 or more. Next, we're on to the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Miami's a -10 here at home. And look at that. We're both going to take the Dolphins. No respect for the Jets.
Yeah, no, there's just no respect for the Jets. And maybe like 4 weeks ago, this game probably would have been like a -4 in the favor of Miami or whatever it was, because Miami was 1-7, but now Miami actually has stuff to play for. Like they're one game behind the Bills. Like this is like a game where they need to crush, they need to win, they need a demanding win, and this is the team to do it against. I mean, the Jets are they're just grasping for air, man. They're just trying to get above water, trying to get any little piece of oxygen they can get and inhale it. I mean, they're really bad. And just watching Zach Wilson, I mean, he can't make the easy throws. He had a lot of open passes last week that kind of screwed with my spread a little bit, because then, maybe the Saints don't get the ball back in there, and then they go and score a touchdown, the Jets, and it was awful. And Zach Wilson does not look good. I don't think he gets better. I mean, I have seen like some great stuff from him. His arm talent is really good, and I do like his like pocket awareness. I like that he's starting to move around a little bit more in the pocket. But Miami, again, they have more to play for. I think Miami's actually a half-decent team. And Tua's been playing pretty well. I mean, completion percentage-wise, yards per attempt, I mean, he's like up there in the league with some of the top guys. So he's not playing like he was at the beginning of the year. I think he's kind of controlling that locker room, where, as before, there were questions about, wow, like Jacoby Brissett comes in, and he kind of does the same thing as Jacoby Brissett. Should they get Deshaun Watson? There wasn't a lot of confidence that Tua is the guy. Brian Flores said he's the guy, and ever since they've been on like a 6-game winning streak. So it's a lot of points, but they are at home. And I feel like in the past, and against division rivals, they play very, very good at home. I have a friend who's a Dolphins fan. He always tells me that when Tom Brady would come into, Miami, they would always lose the Patriots. They were very good at home against the rivals. So I'm going to take them. Again, it's a lot of points for a Miami team that I don't view that great, but they are playing the Jets. So I'll take them -10.
Yeah, it's just hard to pick the Jets right now. I don't know. Like, they have nothing going on for them. One team is doing well and the other team is going in a very bad direction. And I know the NFL is about spot games and all that, but I just don't think this is the right spot for the Jets to get on track here. I mean, you mentioned Zach Wilson can make some of the prettiest throws you've ever seen, but then also bounces, 10-yard passes in the dirt. It's a very weird – I don't know. I don't know if it's a mental thing or what. It's just very odd the way that kid plays quarterback, although he's very talented. But Miami should get Devontae Parker back, I saw. And when they have him in their offense, it's just a lot better. Like, that's just Tua's guy where he can just throw the 50-50 ball and it works out. And I don't think the Jets have a cornerback other than Bryce Hall maybe to cover Devontae Parker. So,
but then who's covering Jalen Waddle?
That's a good question. Probably nobody.
Yeah.
So, Tua has been playing very well recently, and I know the Dolphins don't have much of an offensive line, but do the Jets have much of a pass rush? I mean, it doesn't really matter. So, I know 10 points is a pretty good amount, and the Jets might get Michael Carter back, which should help their offense, but I don't know. It just feels like one of those games where Zach Wilson, although he avoided the turnovers last week, probably has one or two in this game against the Miami defense that has an extra week with coming off the bye to scheme against the young quarterback. And we know Brian Flores is a good defensive coordinator for the most part when he's calling the defense, and he should have a game plan to confuse Zach Wilson, hopefully. So I don't know. I don't like the Jets this week, and I'll go with the Dolphins. Hopefully, they win by 10 or more. On to the oh boy, Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Dallas is a minus 10.5, and I kind of have the same reaction. I'm gonna have to the Jaguars. I'm gonna hate myself for this, but I'm taking the Giants. Shockingly, I'm taking the Giants, and you're gonna take the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed now. I thought you were gonna go with me, and then
I
maybe
probably
now you're gonna
should.
be right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Dallas is just gonna win by a lot. I feel like I honestly read that Washington game so poorly last week. But then again, if the Washington spread was like this spread, Washington would have covered, right? And maybe the Giants do cover in this game because Dallas hasn't been like particularly elite like they were at the beginning of the season where they were just crushing teams and dominating on offense. Dak Prescott's been shaky for whatever reason. Maybe they're hiding an injury, whatever the case may be. He's been kind of shaky. So I'm not confidently going with this, but like you said about the Jets, like why do you even pick the Giants anymore, right? Like what do we even have to go off of? They've had backup quarterbacks and Mike Glennon, and I think Mike Glennon's playing in this game, no? Or is it Daniel Jones?
No, it's probably Glennon, but I saw some report that like Jake Fromm might play, which I don't know what the hell that means, but it's probably Glennon.
If I knew Jake Fromm was playing, I would have picked the Giants.
He might. I don't
Nah,
know.
not. I'll take Dallas minus 10.5. Not much analysis in this game, to be honest with you. They're a really, really offense. I still believe they lead in yards per game. They lead the NFL in that and offensively. Their defense is actually pretty good too. Micah Parsons, I see people saying defensive player of the year. I won't stoop to that level, but I do think he's a fantastic player, a fantastic talent. And he will create problems all over the field for the Giants, make it really hard for whoever it is under center in that game. So I'll take them minus the 10.5. They are on the road. I don't know their home and away splits this year, but the Giants have stunk home and away. So I don't think it really matters.
I wanted to look it up. I think Micah Parsons lines up against Nate Solder most times, and that's going to be hell. So maybe Micah Parsons has 6 sacks in this game. I don't know. We'll find out. But
Wow.
as you mentioned off the top, just Dallas has not been that impressive lately. Like their
Yeah.
biggest win was like 10 points, and that came against the Saints. But their last like huge win was against the Falcons. That was back in week 10. So it's been a bit of time here, but Dak Prescott just has not looked like the same guy since the calf injury. Of course, he missed the Vikings game. They got the win despite that, but since Dak has came back, he has not been that same guy. So I don't know if he's injured or what, but Tony Pollard might not play. Who's kind of the spark plug for that offense. We know Zeke is kind of stuck in mud these days, and it hurts the Giants because I saw the Giants now have some more guys on the COVID list. John Ross, Xavier McKinney might be a big loss if he's out of
Oh,
this game. Leonard Williams now is maybe out for the year. Yeah, there's some bad stuff going on for the Giants. I'm not going to lie, but it just feels like one of those games that for some odd reason the Giants will keep close. Now, I'm a Giants fan that wants Joe Judge fired, so if the Giants lose by 40, then okay, I'm cool with that. But I don't know. It just feels like a weird like 2010 type game. I just don't see Dallas putting up that many points, although I could be wrong. But I don't know. I feel like the Giants defense might show up here. And as I mentioned, Dallas' offense has not been that impressive lately. But my concern is that Mike Glennon has a bunch of turnovers and Dallas gets great field position. That's the one concern I have. But if the Giants take care of the ball, then I like their chances of hopefully not losing by more than 10 points. But we'll find out. I have no confidence whatsoever. But to me, and just watching these matchups in the past, it just feels like a sloppy, ugly Dallas by 7 or 10 type wins. So I don't know. We'll go with that. Here we go. Your team. Washington football team at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles coming off their bye are a -7 at home here against Washington, who just like Cleveland has a lot of guys on the COVID list. So I saw Deron Payne, and I don't know who else. There's a lot of
Jonathan Allen.
Oh, Jonathan Allen too. Oh boy,
I
yeah,
think
they
so.
have they have some guys out that are pretty important. So I think the spread started at like 3.5, right, or 3.5, 4, and now it's ballooned up to 7. So I'm still going with the Eagles, and so are you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to go with Washington, to be honest with you. I didn't realize Washington had this many like COVID people, like people on the COVID list. I almost said like COVID people. Like, geez. I looked at when you sent me these spreads, I was like, all right, Mike got a spread wrong. Like, because last time I looked at it, it was like -2.5, -3, like you said. I was like, they zoomed up all the way to -7. But I have to ride with the team. I mean, they have to win this game. A -7 favorite at home against Washington. I mean, let alone the fact that the Eagles are fighting for a playoff spot, which is just awesome in a rebuild year. I know the Giants fans know a lot about playoff
Shut
spots
the
in the
hell up.
rebuild year,
Shut up.
but they're fighting for a playoff spot in a rebuild year where they have 3 first-round picks. I mean, it's going to be so fun. I really hope they make the playoffs because these years are kind of fun where you have no expectations, right? And then if they do bad, you're like, yeah, that's what we expected. But if they do good, it's kind of exciting. So maybe they're just reeling me back in for disappointment. But I'm going to have to ride with my team. I do think it's a lot of points despite all the COVID stuff for Washington. But I think the Eagles are a really, really good offensive team. They haven't been affected with too many of these COVID list players. I know Jalen Hurts is still kind of a question mark for this week, which kind of concerns me, but Gardner Minshew was able to do a lot before the bye week. So I will take Nick Sirianni, his first bye week, his first game coming off the bye. I think he's done a great job offensively, and I think the Eagles put up a lot of points. And their defense is not too shabby, too. But Washington's defense has improved lately. We have seen that, but like you said, a lot of defensive players in the COVID list. I'm riding with Philly. Hopefully they get the win and they secure a playoff spot this week. Well, not secure a playoff spot, but enter the playoffs this week.
What are the chances the Eagles make the playoffs? They're probably in that mix of like 6 and 7 win teams, right? Where it's a bunch of teams bunched up.
I have the percentage. What do you think the percentage is?
31.
40.9 is
Really?
their percentage last time I saw it. Yeah.
Wow.
40.9. I think it's obviously remaining schedule. Their hardest remaining opponent is the Cowboys. They play the Giants, they play Washington, and they play the Cowboys, I believe.
I would feel so embarrassed as a Giants fan if you guys made the playoffs. Like, you literally traded away like your only good players, and we're clearly rebuilding this year. And the Giants spent all that money just to be terrible. It's like,
but like I said this like 2 weeks ago, everybody was like, "Oh, Giants, Washington out of the East," but now it's Dallas, Philly. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's kind of awesome.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, thanks. All right, my analysis for this game is this: the Eagles have a great offensive line and run the ball very well. And if Washington has none of their defensive line because they're on the COVID list or injured, I think they'd run the ball very well the entire game with Miles Sanders. Is Boston Scott injured? Because he might be. He was hurt last time they played. I don't know.
Yeah, but they still have Gainwell and
Gainwell.
He's still the second guy. Yeah, Gainwell.
Guy's a blur. Yeah, Gainwell. Let's go with that guy. Jordan Howard should be back at that point. Yeah. They should be able to control the clock in this game and all that good stuff. And Taylor Heineke, look, I mean, the guy makes a lot of risky throws. I don't know if you guys watched the Dallas and Washington game, but the man was throwing up balls into quadruple coverage at some points, and he should have had a lot more interceptions than last game. It was funny. I actually started Heineke in a fantasy league, and he had like negative points at halftime. He had one drive where he got 7 points, and it pretty much like saved my week, thank God. But then he got hurt and he was out, so he finished the day with like 5 fantasy points.
Oh, is he playing?
He is, yeah. I just looked it up, actually. The report is that Heineke said his elbow felt good during Wednesday's practice. So there you go. But I saw the other backup quarterback, Brandon Allen, is on the COVID list now, just like everybody else. So he probably can't play unless he like clears the protocol. So it has to be Heineke, it looks like. So yeah. For the Eagles, I expect Hurts to play. I think they said if he's fully healthy, he's playing. And even if it's not, the Eagles are one of those teams that they have a good enough backup quarterback where it's not going to kill them. So we saw last time they played the Jets, who have a very bad run defense. They were able to control the clock and put up a lot of rushing yards and win that game pretty easily. And Washington on the season is good against the run. They are, I think, 5th best in the NFL when it comes to rushing yards per game. But once again, if Allen and all these other guys, obviously Sweat and Chase Young and Payne are out, I mean, that's like their entire defensive line. So I just don't know how Washington can make up for all those injuries. So with that said, I'll go with Philly. I would have liked it much more at 3.5 or 4, but we'll take the 7. If it was 7.5, I might have thought of Washington, but 7, I'll still stick with the Eagles there. Next, we have a game that should be pretty good, actually. Cincinnati is at Denver. Denver's a -2.5 here at home. And we're against each other. I'm taking Denver, and you're going to take the Cincinnati Bengals.
Damn it. Yeah, this is another team where you're really good with Denver. You're really good with Denver. You know how to pick Denver. No. Stop.
Since
Cincinnati,
week 1, baby.
Heartbreaking loss last week. Heartbreaking loss. They outright win this game. Sorry, Denver's not a team I view very good. I know they had a really good week last week, the whole Demaryius Thomas thing. Maybe they still ride that, right? I mean, they're probably dedicating the whole entire season to Demaryius Thomas.
That's
So
what I think.
maybe they just go absolutely stupid, right? And they just can just continue on an upward path the rest of the year. But Cincinnati is fighting for their lives, fighting for a playoff spot, fighting for respect, Mike. Joe Burrow, number 8 on my latest QB top 10 list. He is balling this year. Jamar Chase is back like he never even left. Their wide receiver core is awesome. You know, Joe Mixon's been great. Their offensive line hasn't been too shabby either, and they've had an odd defensive pass rush this year that came out of nowhere, really. Like, their defensive pass rush is pretty good. Their secondary is not that bad. A little inexperienced, but they have played pretty well so far this year. I don't like Denver. I've picked against Denver a lot. I just don't see what everybody else sees, I guess, ever since that game against Philly where I knew Philly was going to win that game by a lot, and they did. I just haven't really respected the Broncos too much. So I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm really rooting for them the rest of the season. I do want to see Cincinnati make the playoffs. I think it would be pretty cool for the whole league to shift where, Miami makes the playoffs, whatever. The Bengals make the playoffs, teams that were really stinky 2-3 years ago. I think it would be cool. So I want to see the Bengals do it. I think they can, and I think they will. Plus 2.5. I'm taking the money line.
Are you telling me it's possible for teams to rebuild in 2 or 3 years?
Outside of the state of New Jersey and New York, it seems pretty possible, I gotta say. By the way, did you hear reports that the Jets might be building a stadium?
Says who?
I heard it on Craig Carton.
You sure he wasn't lying? Because Craig can pull some.
Yeah, no, he could be facetious. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we can rename a Giant Stadium again, that'd be great. I don't like the MetLife name, but I'll believe it when I see it, Andrew. I'll put it that way.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
I hate MetLife Stadium. It's like the worst. I haven't been there that many times, but it's just like the worst.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium is kind of bad in that way too. It's kind of just generic, right? It's that big, perfectly dimensional circle, whatever. No valleys or you know what I mean, all those cool stuff.
Yeah, even as a Yankee fan, I know Citi Field's better. I'll admit that, So yeah. I mean, we could rant about stadiums a different day, but even when you're passing MetLife on the turnpike, it's just looks like a freaking toilet bowl, like a prison toilet bowl, not like a nice toilet bowl, like a prison one. All right. Anyway, what game are we talking about? We have the Broncos. Go on.
I found it.
Fake.
I found it. Found it.
It's fake.
It's no, it's not. MetLife is by far the best situation the organization has been in. But it is in no way the best possible solution for the team. In fact, only 11 years after opening, the time is right now for the Jets to begin the process of moving forward to build their new stadium in New York City to begin play in 2026.
Wow. In New York City, huh?
In New York City.
They should put it on top of a building, on top of a skyscraper.
That would be pretty cool.
How about that? Yeah. $1 billion arena. I don't know where we're going with this. That sounds very futuristic. All right. Broncos. All right. I mean, looking at the offenses for these teams, I think they're kind of even. I know the Bengals put in more points per game, but just looking at the position groups and the skill positions, it's not that much of a discrepancy. I feel like Jerry Jeudy and Jamar Chase are somewhat comparable, and Sutton and Higgins. I mean, it's not like the craziest thing in the world. Burrow, of course, is better than Bridgewater, but it's not like Bridgewater's been bad this year. His stats aren't that bad this season, honestly. So I know Denver, they're one of the tougher teams to play against on the road. The home field advantage and the altitude is going to be tough. And honestly, I just don't completely trust Zach Taylor coming off the toughest loss of the season probably to come back and get his team ready to play this tough game on the road. I mean, these are two teams that are 7-6, and it's going to be a fun game, honestly. It should be a close one that probably will come down to a late fourth quarter play or maybe even overtime. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for this game, but I do think it will be close. I feel like these teams are evenly matched. Denver's defense, though, I mean, I talked about how the Bengals score more points offensively, but Denver's defense is second at allowing the fewest points in the NFL, 17.5 points per game. and the Bengals are like middle of the pack, 22.5 points per game. So, if there's a defense that can help stop this Bengals offense, it could be the Broncos, hopefully. And their secondary, for the most part, is not that bad. So I just feel like Denver is alive to win this game, of course, and the home field advantage definitely factors in for me. Like, if this game was at Cincinnati and the Bengals were favored by 2.5, I'm probably taking the Bengals. But the fact that it's in Denver, and once again, the Demaryius Thomas thing and playing for him the rest of the year, I just feel like the Broncos might win this game. So I don't feel great about it. You can tell by my voice I'm not like too confident, but I'm going to go with the Broncos either way. And as you said, I've been picking them right recently, and I hope that streak continues as well. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. They are at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is a -9. And we're against each other once again. I'm taking San Francisco, and you're taking the Falcons. Even my brother, who, is a Falcons fan, said don't take the Falcons. So tell me why you're taking
I never heard that statement. Well, if your brother said don't take the Falcons, probably means the Falcons are in a cover, to be honest with you. Knowing some of your brother's sports take. I know you're watching right now. You could screen record it, send it to the chat. I know you're watching. You tune in for this pick only. I know you're watching. I'm picking your Falcons +9, okay?
Wait. Are you only doing this to make it up to him because you haven't picked the Falcons recently and you've lost?
No. I think the Falcons are trash, to be honest with you. I think they've overperformed, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I'm going to take them +9 because I don't think that San Fran needs to crush them. And I think Atlanta's been able to score points. And I don't view the 49ers defense as like really, really good as it used to be. You could score points against this 49ers defense. And I think that's what the Falcons are going to do. They're going to score some points. They're going to maybe make this game close at times. And I think like the Seattle-Houston game from last week, they're going to pull away at the end. San Fran's going to pull away at the end. I don't think they're -9 worthy even against a team like Atlanta because for as bad as Atlanta's played this year, they've always been able to score points. Like that's been a thing that they've usually been able to do is pretty much just score more consistently than a lot of the other bad teams. And what? They're 6-7. Like they're still kind of in a playoff race. They're not playing for nothing. They want to keep this game close too. I'm going to take Atlanta on the road +9. It's for you. It's for you, Matt. It's for you.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Looking at Atlanta's wins this year, they just beat bad teams. They beat the Giants. They beat the Jets. They beat the Dolphins when they were bad. They beat the Saints, who at that point didn't have Jameis. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Panthers. Like, who cares? Honestly, who cares? I don't think the Falcons are legit by any means. And the Niners, we know, are getting back to those roots, running the ball and playing good defense. I mean, their defense is like pretty good in total yards and all that, but for some reason they allow like a lot of points. I don't understand how that makes sense. But anyway, we know the Falcons at some points can put up points, but I don't know. I just don't trust them. I really don't trust the Falcons. And, Matt Ryan on the road here in San Francisco, I mean, I just don't see it going too well. I really don't. I don't know why I don't have confidence in this team, but just it feels like a game where the Niners, like you said, they might not win by a lot of points. I feel the opposite way. I feel like the Niners might want to win this game by a lot of points. And remember, Andrew, you're forgetting a big part of this game.
Big.
Revenge game. What? Think about it. Who coaches the Niners?
I see.
My man Shanahan is hanging 42 on the Falcons this week. It's over.
Stop.
That's what
immediately just stop. Right. I don't think Elijah Mitchell's playing, is he?
Maybe not. Jeff Wilson kind of stinks, not gonna lie. But anyway, I feel like Garoppolo's been playing well lately. And who stopped
Garoppolo? If you're a heavy stat guy, if anybody out there is a heavy stat person, Garoppolo, 8.4 yards per attempt. It's like third in the league. That's kind of crazy.
That's rare for him. Yeah.
Yeah. 8.4 yards per attempt. How much of
that is like after the catch stuff? That's like, what's the air yards? I want to know what the air yards are because a lot of that's probably like, George Kittle 30 yards after the catch and Deebo Samuel 70 yards.
My stats aren't that advanced, Mike.
I'll look into it later. All right.
8.4.
But yeah, they've been playing well offensively. Like now, Brandon Ayuk's a part of this offense once again, which is nice. And we know how great Deebo Samuel is, and George Kittle's healthy right now, and he probably had his best game of the year. I don't know. They're just a good team right now. And Atlanta,
they are a good team.
Atlanta's Atlanta. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I have to say. And they're on the road. So I'll go with San Fran here. And I feel pretty good about them winning by hopefully 10 or more. On to the where am I at? On to the Seattle Seahawks. They're at the Los Angeles Rams, a game that before the season was probably supposed to be fun, but Seattle is not a good football team right now. The Los Angeles Rams are a -7 here at home, and we're both going to take the LA Rams with the recency bias of what we just saw on Monday.
Yeah, I don't think it's recency bias. Well, I mean, it kind of is because I'm kind of basing it off of they're going to have momentum after that win. Big win, big win on the road
Yeah.
against the Cardinals in prime time. Everybody said Matt Stafford couldn't beat winning teams, all that stuff. He couldn't beat winning teams on the road. He's really bad on the road.
He's not much better than Jared Goff.
He just shut everybody up. He just say, shut up. And he went off on, what was it, Monday Night Football? Yeah, he went off on Monday Night Football. He's the man. Third best quarterback on my top 10 list. I think they crush Seattle in this game. I really do. I don't think Seattle's ready for it. And I think Seattle is going to pitter-patter, you know what I mean? Because they have some wins stacked up in a row now, too. Seattle's kind of nearing it, They're like, oh, my God, maybe we can make something happen here. Keep Russell Wilson back. No. Say goodbye. Russ is gone. He's gone. You're not going to pay him the money he wants. He's going to leave. He wants to go to a big market team.
Where's he going?
He's not going to the Giants.
All right.
The Giants don't have the cap room, unfortunately.
No, they'll make it work. Stop.
Okay. Well, then maybe he goes to the Giants. I know his wife wants to go to New York, and happy wife, happy life. So maybe he does go to New York.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go a little south of New York, maybe a little southwest
the
of
Panthers.
New York.
Nope.
No, I was going to say the Eagles.
Stop.
I think he would waive his no trade clause to Philly. I think that report did come out.
He would not.
Where was I? Yeah, Rams crush spot here. I think the Rams are a really good team. Again, they're still fighting for that 1 seed. You know what I mean? They're still fighting for that big playoff spot. Big win. Now they play another division opponent. Man, they're going to crush Seattle. This might be one of my favorite bets, Mike. I'm talking myself into it. They're going to crush Seattle.
God. I kind of want to take the Seahawks now.
Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do it to me.
No. Both teams are on a 2-game win streak here. And I know one of those wins for the Rams was against the Jaguars, and one of those wins for the Seahawks was against the Texans. So,
yeah.
Is it really a 2-game win streak? But, yeah, Matthew Stafford really impressed me, I will say. I feel like a happy father because I've always been a Matthew Stafford supporter. So to see my man on national TV, shut up the haters, was very nice. So I hope he wins MVP, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, look, the Rams are a team I'm a big fan of. Picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and right now they're getting back on track. And as I mentioned, like the Rams are just kind of like the Niners, getting back to their roots of running off play action. Because a lot of times, like I think what's his name, Sean McVay kind of got cocky. He's like, you know what, this Matthew Stafford guy is really good. We'll just do drop back passes the entire game. And now they're doing the play action, and defenses don't know what's coming, and their offense is great. And they did that without Tyler Higbee. They did it without their right tackle, Rob Havenstein. Darrell Henderson, the running back, hopefully he's back this week, and it adds more of a dual threat element because he's a better receiver than Sony Michel. So, yeah, I mean, I'm liking this Rams team right now. I mean, Seattle, I'll give them some credit. I mean, they've been pretty good the last couple weeks, and Russell Wilson is clearly more healthy than he was, let's say, 3-4 weeks ago. Like, he looks a lot better than he did in, like, the first Green Bay game and things like that. So, Russell Wilson healthy, being a +7, it's enticing. I'm not going to lie, but the Rams are the home team. They have stuff to play for. I mean, I guess Seattle should play to win because they don't have their own first-round pick anyways. So thanks, Jamal Adams. But, yeah, I mean, Seattle's weird. You know why? Because Seattle is 5th best in points allowed on defense, but they're 31st in yards allowed. I don't know how that correlates. Like, how do you allow 406 yards per game on defense but only allow 20.2 points per game? It doesn't – I don't get it.
That's weird. That's really weird.
That changes this week as the Rams put up a lot of points and yards against the Seahawks. You'll see.
Okay.
I hope. Yeah. Anyway, Russell Wilson, I will say this every week, is going to be a Giant, and I'm very excited. All right. On to
Carlos Cray is going to be a Yankee. A lot of big guys coming to New York next year. Look, a lot of big guys.
If Correa going to the Yankees gets me Wilson to the Giants, I will sign off on it. You have a deal.
Yeah. That works for me, Mike.
Although I like Trevor's story more. All right. On to the Green Bay Packers at the Baltimore Ravens. As I mentioned this game, I'll try to look into Lamar Jackson's status. We don't know if he's playing, but Green Bay right now is a -5. And I would think if Green Bay's a -5. Go ahead.
Mike, can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
I can't. Dylan, again here, Mike. I called Dylan for this pick,
Right.
and my AirPods went over to my phone. And
all right, Green Bay is a -5. And based on that spread, I'm going to assume Lamar Jackson's playing because if it was Tyler Huntley, right? Is that his name?
yeah.
Yes. Who's the other Huntley? Oh, Huntley. Who's Huntley, the former Packers backup? Brett Huntley?
Brett,
No,
Brett, yeah, Brett,
no, that's
Brett
the
Hundley,
catcher
yeah.
in baseball. No.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I have Dylan on the line to make this
why
pick, by
is
the way, for me.
Dylan talking? All right, let's see what his
I have
brother.
Dylan on the line. Dylan, what is one thing that we don't do in the betting industry?
If there's a couple of life lessons in life, you don't bet against Brady and Belichick in New England, and you sure as hell don't bet against Aaron Bleepin Rodgers.
You don't bet against Aaron Bleepin Rodgers. That's one thing you don't do.
Geez.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm gonna hang up now. I really appreciate it.
Well, I follow the advice because I'm taking the Packers, and so are you. So just
damn straight. We should just both make this our favorite bet. Actually, probably not. You know,
I did not personally.
Yeah. Okay. Green Bay -5 against Lamar Jackson. That's gonna be a little shaken up. Maybe his mobility is tested. Can you believe a game where his ankle hurts and he can't run the ball that well? I mean, how well is that going to go for Lamar Jackson? How is that going to go? And only 5 points? I know it's on the road, but man, Rodgers shows time and time again, you don't mess with this guy, man. He just does everything. He destroys everything. Lamar Jackson on a wonky ankle, not being able to run the ball that much, being forced to throw from the pocket, this game might get ugly. It might really, really get bad. And you've seen it. Like, even a healthy Lamar Jackson hasn't really been able to throw the ball as well anymore. And his mobility is up a lot of passes. And I think the defense has started to figure him out a little bit. And I think this game might get ugly. I'm going to take Green Bay -5 in Baltimore. And I feel pretty good about it, Mike. I'm not going to lie.
You cut out for like 5 seconds, but I pretty much got what you said. Your internet's been very underperforming today, I must say. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, we know about your internet. All right. Yeah, I'm taking the Packers as well. I mean, you pretty much laid it out there for me. It's probably a hampered Lamar Jackson who might not even play. So that would definitely help the Packers, obviously, we think. Because Huntley kind of looked good, actually, in that game. I know it was garbage time and more of a catch-up situation, but, like, Huntley doesn't look that bad when he plays. He had that nice game-winning drive against the Bears when he played. I don't know. Anyway. I
think a tampered Lamar might be better than a healthy Huntley.
Yes, I agree. Anyway, I'm going to, the Baltimore defense especially is very injured in the secondary, not having Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey and a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's going to take advantage of that. Let's be honest, So the Packers should put up a ton of points in this game, and I just don't think that the Ravens have the horses right now to keep up with that. And it's only 5 points. If it was like a 9.5 or something, I might go with the Ravens. But 5 points, I mean, come on. I think the Packers, who this year are 11-2 against the spread, which is kind of concerning. Like, it's great to see that, but it's also like,
trap game. Trap game.
At some point it's going to revert back to the mean because teams usually don't go like 15-2 against the spread in the regular season. Like, at some point, these spreads stop hitting. And the Packers keep finding a way to just make it happen. I don't know.
I hate that you brought it up that point. It screams trap game.
Yeah, I try to be like I don't know,
realist.
A fair person.
I got you, bro.
A realist, exactly. So, all right, I'm taking the Packers there. Screw it. We're on to the Sunday night football game. New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is a -11. I'm taking the Saints, and you're taking the Bucs.
Yeah, it might not be a bad pick to go with the Saints here. It's a lot of points against the Sean Payton team on prime time. But, I mean, hey, Tom Brady, ranked number 1 in my top 10 quarterback list. He is – I'm breaking again? What'd you say?
No, I said Tom Brady, like, the Massachusetts Texan.
I thought you said you were breaking up or something like that. Tampa Bay -11 in prime time. Dylan said it on the phone. You don't get bet against Brady and Belichick in New England. It's not Belichick, and it's not New England. It's in Tampa, but, I mean, come on. He's not slowed down one bit. If anything, he's gotten better at the age of 43 and 44, which is awesome. It's fantastic. It's good for the game, to be honest with you, to see players playing that long at that position. It's good for the future. So I like that about Tom Brady. I don't think Tom Brady is like going to be like an every year thing. You know what I mean? Where like a guy plays until his 40s like Tom Brady does. Obviously, he's an anomaly, but Tom Brady is great in prime time. Tom Brady has been great on the Bucs. He's been fantastic this year. I'm going to take them minus 11. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. It is a lot of points for a Saints team that's well coached. They tend to be in most of these games. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay. It's at home, prime time. They like to crush teams. They like to crush division rivals, and maybe that's what they do right here. Give me Tom Brady getting 11 points or giving 11 points.
Yeah, I can't blame you. I mean, you said that Tom Brady's an anomaly, but, when Russell Wilson plays till he's 45 on the Giants, I mean, that's going to be another one right there.
God, you know what, Mike? I'm going to feel so bad for you if he goes elsewhere because you're really hyping this up. You're preparing yourself for heartbreak, buddy.
I'm really starting to buy into it, and I know it's not going to go my way, but I'm just really starting to buy into it. All right. I mean, look, let's be honest. I mean, outside of the playoff game, when the Buccaneers won, the Saints are 3-0 against Brady since Brady's been a Buccaneer in the regular season. So for some reason, the Saints always, I don't know, take advantage of this matchup. And I think the last time Brady faced the Saints, of course, it was in New Orleans, but Brady threw 2 interceptions and played one of his worst games of the year. So it's something about the Saints defense that always figures out Tom Brady. But like my initial reaction, and usually you should go with your gut, that's usually the right answer. Like my first initial reaction was I'm taking the Buccaneers because they're just killing everybody right now. But just thinking about the previous Saints-Buccaneers matchups, I'm like, well, the Saints do kind of have Tom Brady's number. And right now, I mean, their offense for the Saints is like not great, but like it's good enough with Taysom Hill, and they should get Mark Ingram back. They have guys coming back from injury, hopefully, like Ramczyk, Davenport. Who else? Cam Jordan, hopefully, missed his first game of his career. That was a big loss for them, even though they won anyway. Teron Armstead, left tackle. So, yeah, hopefully they get some guys back. Of course, that would be big for the Saints. As for the Buccaneers, Antonio Brown's still out. It's a funny situation over there. I think he's hurt anyway, but still. I could see the Bucs winning. Obviously, they're on a roll right now, but just the way these matchups have gone in the past, I'm just going to go with the Saints and just take them. Sean Payton's a good coach, and they should hopefully keep it close with that defense. And if they don't, then, hey, you win the game. You've been good on Sunday night, I feel like, so maybe this is the wrong pick. I don't know.
I've been good on prime time.
You're a prime time guy, yeah.
Prime time.
Minnesota, Monday Night Football, Minnesota at the Chicago Bears. So Minnesota has how many days off? Like 11 days off now because they play Thursday and then they play on Monday. Wow. All right, so Minnesota's at Chicago, and Minnesota's a -3.5 only. Wow, so that's kind of surprising. This feels like a trap game, honestly. But anyway, we're both going to take the Vikings.
I don't want to do this to you because I already made you edit extra because I left, but
I'll do it.
Can I switch?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it.
To the Bears? Okay. I'm going to take the Bears plus 3.5. I'm a primetime guy. All right, guys, listen to me on this one. This is a trap game. I'm just staring at this number right now. I mean, why wouldn't you pick Minnesota? Because Minnesota went and they crushed the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers made a fight at the end, but that's just like what Mike Tomlin's teams do. They tend to not lose games by that much. Not every team has that trait. It's a very rare trait. I think the Bears win this game at home. I think they're tired of losing. They had a big letdown spot against the Packers where they gave their team hope, right? They gave their fans hope they were winning that game. Maybe they would finally get at Rodgers, because he said the thing last time, I own you, I still own you. Maybe they were pissed. Maybe we're going to finally win against the Packers. It didn't happen. They scored a lot of points. Their defense let them down. I think the defense is going to play well in this game. I think they're going to shut down this offense. Maybe not shut down completely, but they're going to limit this offense to an extent. I think they're able to put up points. Justin Fields is going to show up on primetime. If I'm not mistaken, the Bears have played pretty well on primetime. I feel like the last time they played on primetime before the Packers game, they played against the Steelers. They covered that spread. The Packers game, they should have covered that spread. I'm going to take Chicago here.
They won.
Thanksgiving, they won. I mean, when they're in the spotlight, man, this team's not that bad. So I'm going to take Chicago plus the 3.5. I don't feel fantastic about it, but hey, if Minnesota wins by that field goal, I get the spread, which is something I like very much. So I'm going to do a little late switch up here, but I am going to take Chicago plus 3.5.
I just hope you know that if you lose this game, I'm going to laugh at you because you were
Please do. I deserve to be laughed.
You were supposed to be on my side, and now it's just like, I'm taking the Bears. All right. Well, anyway, I mean, Minnesota has the veteran coach. They have a team that's 6-7. Minnesota's built to win now, and I know we have the whole Kirk Cousins in primetime thing, but he did play okay on Thursday. So, minus the 2 interceptions, but who's counting? Honestly, though, they should have had like 4 touchdowns because Justin Jefferson like literally should have had 3 in that game and he only had 1. So that was kind of frustrating. They were close, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the Bears are that good, and part of me as a Giants fan just wants them to lose so we get a higher pick. That definitely influences my decision, but it's also like, Mike Zimmer's been around forever, and I don't think he's going anywhere because of his contract. I don't think he'll be fired. So I still think this team wants to play hard for him. They obviously want to make the playoffs because they are a pretty good team on paper. I've said this for weeks now. The Vikings are not that bad of a team. They just kind of ran into some bad luck with the last second losses. So I don't know. This Bears team isn't that good. They had a lot of just like fluky big plays in that Packers game. The onside kick, Jakeem Grant, Demir Bird, like those plays were just nonsense. I don't think they're happening again. So I'm just going to take the Vikings are the better team. It's only 3.5. What do I have to worry, right? I mean, come on. So I'm going to take the Vikings and
screams trap game.
It does.
The way you just said that at the end, man. This is going to get thrown so far in your face.
Yep, probably. Anyway, I'm willing to be rolling there. I mean, would Kirk Cousins let me down? I don't think so. So
you know what this is like? This is like that Rams minus 3.5 spread against the 49ers on Monday Night Football.
Right.
This is exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
49ers outright win the game. Played very well against the Rams.
That would be very sad. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, I have my 2 favorite bets picked. I'll go over those and I'll let you think about yours. I'm going to take of course, I was enthusiastic about this one, so it was no surprise. The Pittsburgh Steelers is a -2 on the road. They're home. Yeah, +2. I put -2. I don't know why. Thanks for that. They're +2 at home, which is rare, against a Titans team that I don't think is like that great right now. So I think the Steelers get this win. We've seen it plenty of times in the Mike Tomlin era. They'll get this win at home here. And plus, if they lose by 1, I still win. So that's great. And my second one is I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs, who play on Thursday, obviously.
Wow.
Against a kind of beat-up Chargers team coming off an ass-whipping. Well, like they were the ones kicking the ass against the Giants. So I both teams actually won by a lot of points because the Chiefs beat the Raiders by a lot too. But I just think this Chiefs team is better than the Chargers right now, and they're going to put a lot on Justin Herbert's shoulders in this game. And the Chiefs' defense is generating turnovers, and I think the Chiefs win this game, and it's only 3 points. So of course, I could look bad on Thursday, but I'm willing to take the chance. So anyway, Andrew, what is your 2 favorite bets for this week?
Okay, so for number 1, we're going to go with the Bills -10.5 against Carolina.
Okay.
And for number 2, we're going to go the Rams -7 against Seattle. Those are my 2.
Okay. Good teams. So it's a lot different from your Jets and Lions favorite bets last week. Going with
I've learned.
2 pretty good teams here. I like that. Okay.
I went with 2 pretty good teams against really bad teams.
All right. So we have Rams -7, Bills -10.5. Right? Yeah, 10.5. All right. What else do you want to talk about? Any Yankee news or no? Because nothing's going on. No, that's a shame.
No, nothing. No. Yeah, it is a shame. It really is.
Oh well.
I miss sending stuff into the chat. I did hear that the lockout might be over sooner than the analysts thought. So it could be January instead of February. Some people were saying into the season. I didn't really think it was going to go that far, but I guess we'll see, man. Lockout times are tough. Not a lot of content to post.
Yep.
Lockout times are tough, man.
I feel you. I mean, I don't feel you because I don't run an MLB page, but I get what you're saying.
I got you.
All right, yeah. Follow Andrew, Bronx Bombers, 2 S's on Instagram.
Yep.
Good account. Good account.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that'll do it for the video. Week 15 is not in the books, but it's in the books for us. And hopefully half the league does not have COVID tomorrow. And we can actually, there we go. I mean, look at this guy, bougie ass. I mean, who's doing that? Look at me. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular ass guy.
How's that? Oh, you can see the NBA game I'm watching in the background.
don't get us copyrighted. Come on. That's
That'd
pretty
be
cool.
so funny, bro.
Who gave you that plaque?
My mom.
Your mom. I was hoping Instagram would have given it to you.
No, they're not. They're not bougie like that.
I know, like YouTube gives you like a thing that
100K.
Yeah, 100K. I mean, maybe I'll live.
Yeah, it's that style.
I don't know. Maybe when I'm in my 40s, we'll get there. Anyway, hopefully everyone enjoyed. We'll come at you next week, and good luck to everyone's teams out there. And we'll talk to you next time.